Well, hello, everyone. I think it's only fitting that after my discussion today with you, we get to have food because I'm Greek and my culture is Greek, and in my family, we believe that everything tastes better with, or is better with food. It's just so social and such a way to bind us together. And, you know, I am so humbled to stand up here and so honored to stand up here in front of all of you. And I have to share that I think I met Joanne first, and then I met Joanne and Marilyn together, and they were talking about this amazing event where women could come together and share and be together and, you know, share the power of our inspiration and our lives and our leadership together and grow. And I do remember that they said something that it was at a lovely resort and that we would spend some time kind of rejuvenating and relaxing, but I don't know if I remembered that part. And so true to probably each of you, we have busy lives. This is my first power trip, and I did not know what to expect at all. Maybe the night before I was coming, I decided to look up the name of the resort. I saw all the notes about signing up for spa treatments and stuff like that, and I'm happy to say that I had a few, but I started getting more and more excited about the time with you and just the beautiful facility. And you know, I really want to start off by thanking Marilyn and Joanne for this beautiful event and thanking each of you. I mean, I am leaving here with something from every single person I've had an interaction with, every single person that I've had a chance to listen to or sit by at dinner. And, you know, it's my hope that I can share something today that's more about my life. I mean, I think that collaboration and working together is a survival skill in my journey, but I'm hoping that something I can share will inspire you, or at least some of you as well. And I've had a great morning. I mean, it's like, how often do we get to stand up and talk to one another? I think I've had a recalibration shot, which is a spicy kind of beet juice shot of juice, and I had this beautiful green smoothie that my sister couldn't even stand to drink it all, but I thought it was wonderful. I did a stretching class, and if there's time at the end, I want to share something with you about what I learned in stretching class that can pump you full of energy in 5 minutes or less. It's remarkable. I did a yoga class, and it was after waking up at 8 o'clock, and I'll have to tell you that I woke up at 8 o'clock because I think I'm entering like perimenopause, and I didn't sleep very well last night. And how empowering. How many times could I say this in front of a room full of men and feel safe? This is the only time from this stage that I've ever said that. So anyway, thank you for the opportunity about sharing really a little bit about my personal story through who I am as a woman, who I am as a leader, and a bit about what I believe about collaboration and collective impact, but just know that it's a survival skill, and I hope we all get better and better at how we do that. First, I do want to introduce you a little bit to definitely my sister. She's my colleague, so I guess I'm the one moving the slides, and there we go. I am thrilled to be here with my sister, Terry Bomarito, and she is also our Director of Strategic Partnerships at Capstone. A little bit about Capstone, not very much, because I enjoyed the speed dating and would look forward to our connections later, but we are an organization about 240 people strong that has a legacy since 1991 about really, really deeply caring about student success. And we like to make learning fun, and we know that helps students succeed. And I'll tell you, we have fun while we're dreaming up how to make learning fun. We're committed to our core values, and you know, I got to Capstone. I'm a year and 5 days into my role as CEO, which has definitely been a journey. And I got to Capstone, and I just looked at the values on the wall and thought that they were the most beautiful values that I could really stand behind and live. And I spend my life at Capstone, you know, what I learned as my roots as a teacher, trying to model and live my values out loud and encouraging our organization to do the same thing. We do believe that learning is for everyone. We believe that children need to see themselves and their friends and their families and people they don't know and the world around them and everything that we create. And so I love the content that we create and look forward to a chance of sharing some of that and with some of you as your needs would meet me there, and we could meet you there. a little bit about my life, and not in any particular order, because all of these are important to me, and I am so deeply committed to my family. But my husband's name is Randall, so when I met him, he went by Randy. He's Randy with a Y, and I'm Randy with an I, and we've been married 21 years. And we live in Phoenix, Arizona. We met when we were both teachers, and we left the classroom really at the same time, really thinking that we would both go back. But we had some student loans that were legitimately huge. And so we thought we'd leave for a moment in time. I thought I was going to marry two of my passions and go. I loved coffee and I loved teaching, so I thought I was going to go into corporate education for Starbucks. Well, what you have to do then to really get one of those jobs, I made it all the way through the interview process, and I had to go to a Starbucks one morning and work for a day and make sure that I could love working at Starbucks. And I started at like 4:45 in the morning, and people were showing up slightly after that saying, I want a half calf, half decaf, 1 pump of vanilla, no foam latte. And I'm like, okay, this is not for me. But I had met a gentleman when I was in graduate school getting my degree in education, and he opened an ed tech company about helping teachers focus on the standards while they plan for instruction. And that was back in 2000. And even though I left teaching because I had some student loans to pay off, I took a pay cut in an act of faith because I fell in love with what the firm was doing. And I did professional development for teachers, and then I grew up in the ed tech market through the go-to-market channel. And I'll tell you about that in a minute. But first I need to tell you about my miracle baby. Her name is Emma. And I'm going to cry because you guys are all so safe. But I did in vitro 4 times to get my little girl. She's my gift. She's on the autism spectrum, and she's beautiful. And I have learned so much about her and how to propel her forward through the collective impact. I really have, through the collaboration of people that have helped me support my baby. My family is down in the right. They're just a beautiful, big, fat Greek family. No, people said people cried last year. I guess I'm the first one, but it's just... So I just have a beautiful family, and I adore them. My parents are aging parents. We're all in interesting stages of our life, but what I've learned over the last decade is I want to live a life of balance, and I don't want to have regrets about how I spend my time, and I just am so blessed to have such a beautiful family around me. I am the CEO of Capstone, and I'll tell you, it's a dream job of mine, absolutely a dream job. I take what I learned in the classroom and what I learned about making an impact, and I'm doing it at a different scale now, and I'm doing it at a scale in an organization that can make an impact on so many kids. It is a dream job, but it is not a job that I dreamed of, right? I was growing up, just watching the world around me. I didn't ever aspire to be a CEO, and then, could tell you stories and write a book about my journey into leadership and about, being a woman in ed tech and learning a lot from men and from women, and learning a lot about who I wanted to be and how I wanted to project myself as a leader. But I'll tell you, I was stuffed down a lot, and I watched what happened around me. I asked how to prepare for a meeting, and I was told to wear a black bikini. I didn't think that was the right answer. I mean, we've all had our stories there, but I had not seen a lot of women in leadership, either in education when I was in the classroom or in ed tech when I enjoyed this wonderful part of my career and growing and learning and really being in school districts every day like your school districts and helping to solve real problems. So I love the job, and I love that we're a family-owned company, and that the man that gave me a job has 2 daughters, and I know that one of the reasons he gave me this job is he wanted his daughters to see women that could lead organizations and make a change and make a difference. And so I feel, the teacher in me knows that I have a huge responsibility in this organization. And so as we go to the next slide, when I think about the discussion point that I wanted to talk to you about today, and I think about, I have to go to the next slide. I'm used to people clicking my slides. It's usually my sister that does it. But, when I was at ASU GSV just this past year, there was a woman that spoke at a women's luncheon it was a courageous women in leadership luncheon. It was a beautiful luncheon, and she talked about how empowered women empower other women. May we know them, may we be them, and may we inspire our children to be them. And I think about what value that has brought into my life and how I started today, and so that I'm taking something from every single one of you, whether it's a funny thing about how many, 30,000 decisions I make in a day and 221 of them are about food, or whether it's something much more deep and much more serious. I'm taking something from each of you, and I want to inspire each of you to know that and to continue sharing of yourself and to continue building other women leaders and other people up in their journey as well. And I think that there's nothing that this group couldn't do together. And when I thought of something fitting to share with you, and we did change the PowerPoint a little bit last night, I hope that's okay, but Margaret Mead shared that never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. And the bottom line is, I want the world to bring on big problems that we can solve together, because there is a lot of inspiration in this room and dedication. I mean, we're in education because we're committed to children and to changing the world and into this collective impact of work that we do together. And so back to, if we go to the next slide, and I'm going to do it, when we think of our leadership as women, and I'll draw a few parallels to my own life. Grew up in a time where when I graduated, becoming a teacher was very competitive. Like, you needed to go in to be a math teacher or a science teacher. Forget being a language arts teacher or a social studies teacher, because there were so many teachers. And I remember even in my interview skills, knowing that I was going to go into the profession and be interviewed by likely men in these organizations, I was coached to don't use feeling words. You need to use words that are, not about feelings, but about thoughts and about what you believe. And I had all of this coaching that played back into my head. And so I remember thinking at Capstone, my goodness, I am a CEO now, and it's such an honor and such a dream job, but not a job that I ever dreamed of. And in my other jobs, I was certainly in leadership. I was a teacher leader and led organizations largely in the go-to-market teams in charge of huge amounts of revenue, and learned a lot along the way, even in some of those roles. I remember when COVID hit, being taught to kind of stuff down some of my attributes as a women leader as well. And I'll tell you, I led half the country for a huge ed tech organization, one of the biggest ones out there, and COVID hit, and I was at a table with 7 men that were in my department, virtual table, because it was COVID, and we were talking about motivating our teams and helping them through this, and I took it really seriously. I got my team on the phone and told them this is a lot that we're dealing with, and we're going to do it together, and we're going to give each other the breaks that we need and be here for each other. And I can't tell you the feedback I got after that meeting about I had the perfect opportunity to grow the revenue for the company, and why wasn't I telling people to make 10 phone calls a day and do their KPIs? And so I remember just, like all of us do, we think through our lives and what we've lived through and who we are, and we show up into new circumstances and new positions. And I was thinking to myself, how do I show up as CEO? I know how to be me. I know how to care and be confident and be inspiring and motivate people and love people. How do you be a CEO? And I remember asking a male CEO that is still a mentor of mine, and he gave me the best advice ever. He said, show up as yourself and embrace who you are and live your life out loud. And that's what I do, and it's what I love to do, but I have to realize that a woman in a man's world that, I haven't had a lot of models to follow. I'm charting my own way, and I am so thankful to be in this room and have others, and, I'm intentional about finding others to chart the way together. And so getting back to some research, so, the Harvard Business Review Journal did a 360-degree review of leadership qualities, and what's interesting is the research showed that women scored at a very statistically significantly higher level in these areas that you see on the screen than their male counterparts. And you can look at these, and I dove into the article, and we can make it available to you if you want to see it. But there's such a disconnect between how women show up and how many opportunities we have in leadership. And one thing, and I want to just look at our clock. Time flew by because I shared a lot about my personal experience. I think to adjust for time, think in your own mind, because we'll only take about a minute to do so, but think about your superpower as a woman leader in your organization, or definitely your school district. And think about a leadership trait that you celebrate, that you are deliberate about in your job as you project yourself as a leader. So think about it. And I'm sorry we were going to discuss it for 5 minutes, but that's not going to happen now. I discussed a lot. I didn't know I was going to cry, but think about it. So something that I embraced as a leader, and something that I wanted to make sure that I was living out loud, is vulnerability. So when I was in my former organization, I was very quiet about Emma and the fact that she's on the autism spectrum, and I did it for multiple reasons, and it could take a full hour to talk to you about that. Some of it is I was protective about Emma. I had some negative conversations with people that really impacted me, and so I wanted to be protective because I believe that my little girl is a gift, and she's so special, and she changes my life, and she's going to change the world. And some of the reasons I kept Emma quiet is I was in a competitive world, and getting to work was really the hardest thing that I could do. And many of you may relate to that, but Emma's autism manifests itself by she has some anxiety, so going to new places and doing new things, and we're overcoming that and doing some really, really neat, making progress in that area. She also has some OCD tendencies, and so for about 4 years of my life, she loves the art of just throwing things. And so anything you would leave on the counter in my house, she would throw. It could be a credit card, and she'd throw it on the pantry shelf. It could be one of your shoes that you're looking for, or your bra or something that you're trying to wear, and she would just throw it. She loves to throw. And so literally my life was thrown around, and sometimes just getting to work was the most difficult part of my day. And when I came to Capstone on my very first day, I decided to talk to the company about my life and my life with Emma, and how she's a gift, and how life is complicated, and how none of us, we're all more than one thing, and we have so many things pulling at us. And what that did for me, being committed to being vulnerable and transparent, is it made people understand that it's okay to have different things pulling at us, and to show up in life, and to be vulnerable together. And it connected my team to me, and it built trust. And I guess to sum it all up, let's have confidence in our leadership strength, and let's grow as leaders together, and realize that we're in this job not because leadership qualities need to be male or female. None of us want to be gender stereotyped. We learn from men, we learn from women, we learn from each other, but I guess to embrace that we're in this role in education because we have big problems to solve, and we care about individual children, we care about their families, we care about the world around us, we care about making a difference in lives, and we're, as women, uniquely suited to do that. And we need to build that up. And we need to surround ourselves with people that are like-minded with us, people that share our values. We need to build teams around us that we trust, that we can collaborate with. And, I think I do want to take just a few minutes to ask you to share at your table group something you do either formally or informally to surround yourself with like-minded people, like-minded women that can give you balance, that can give you connection, that can give you the ability to solve big problems together. So take about 3 minutes at your table groups. We probably won't report out, but share how you either formally or informally give yourself the freedom to surround yourself with people. Okay, are we ready to come back together, everybody? I am glad that you're sharing because this is important stuff to take the time to share with one another and collaborate because really together, we're all connected and together we're ready for what we need to do. And the research shows that we are bolder and more ambitious in our thinking and more driven, and we are more apt to collaborate together and develop each other and share and mentor and develop talent. And, we work in these big jobs. We have big problems to solve. We have, big decisions to make. And the bottom line, though, is the impact is huge and the rewards are really, really great. So thank you for letting me share with you. It was so deeply meaningful for me to be able to share from my heart about my journey. And again, thank you all for having an impact and a part of my journey. And I did promise that I would share with you something to give you energy in just a couple minutes or less. So today in stretching class, our instructor was just a lovely human being, and she was saying, if you ever have a Charlie horse when you sleep, and one of my new friends does, and somebody gave her pickle juice, and she said, if you ever have a Charlie horse, the best thing to do is just smack it, just really hit it, because your body gets confused, and you might have to smack it about 3 times. And this is what she said, if you ever need energy before a board meeting, how many of you ever need energy before a board meeting? Okay, so stand up really fast and follow along, because I get embarrassed. I'm not a dancer. But she said to really, and I'll just model for a second, but she said to really just kind of hit your body all around a few times and keep going. So it's going to look like this. It's going to be smack and kind of hard, and then